Hello. Whoops. Hey, Martin.
Okay, I think I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, you're coming in.
How are you?
Pretty good. How are y'all doing?
I'm super.
Oh, good, good, good. Yeah, it's been a pleasant day today. And had to take the car in for repair, $600. And I was fortunate to get my stimulus money this morning, which
All
covered it.
right.
Yeah. So that was pretty nice. That was pretty good.
Cool. I'm waiting for mine.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see, it's 7 o'clock and we've got about 13 people. Martin, you want to wait a minute just to see if we go ahead and get a few more people on before we start?
Yeah, that's fine.
So we'll give it 2 minutes and then we will be off to the races. Is that okay with everybody who's here on time?
Yes.
Yes.
I guess it's not okay with the other 10 people, but we're going to do it anyway. How about that?
Yes, it's fine.
All right.
Is just FYI, this is Sebastian Lopez. I'm using the chats because I've got too much noise in the background.
Okay, okay. I have to make sure I pay attention to that chat. You know, I'm still pretty new at this. I may forget something.
Is that the girl?
Well, while we wait, how about a quick notary quiz? I was just popped a question today from another notary who says, I have a disabled signer with an expired ID card since December 2017.
Wow.
Will this be acceptable to notarize an affidavit?
Wow.
Yes or no?
No.
Who said no? That was Sebastian? Did you say no?
Perry.
Yes, ma'am. I said no.
Somebody else said no, too.
Oh, you got me right there?
Okay. Martin, you want to do a second part to that question and ask why?
Yeah, why no?
Yeah, why that answer?
Anybody want to say why no?
Is it because of the time that it expired in 2017? It's too, of course, it's expired, but is there anything that we can backdate even with them being disabled?
But if you look at my facial expression, you would have had the answer. I'm gonna try to change those facial expressions.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, state law says that your ID has to be current. It must be current. Okay, if it's expired one day, you cannot use. Now, what can you use as identification instead?
Hey, Barbara.
Hi.
Um,
Question again. Do I get to answer?
Is that Barbara? You want to know if you get to answer, Barbara?
Yeah.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Of course you can if you want to.
Yeah, well, the answer is yes. The alternate form of ID you can use is a credible witness. And only if the credible witness is not a beneficiary to the document that you're notarizing.
Martin, let's take that question even a little bit further. Is there anything that would make, as far as the expired ID, is there anything that would allow you to accept an expired driver's license while we are in COVID-19?
No. While we are in COVID-19, you still cannot accept an expired driver's license, even though DPS will allow expired driver's licenses to still be valid only for DPS purposes, not for notarial purposes.
Good. Okay, so we went beyond our 2 minutes over. So now we're going to really get started. But I'm just going to do a brief introduction. I'm just going to read Martin's bio for you guys. Even though we kind of, he's smart because he just put that out there for us, didn't he? But Martin Rentero, he is, I'm sorry?
How did he get my name?
Huh? Who said, I'm sorry. Say that again. Oh, okay, I thought someone said something.
Okay.
But Martin has more than 30 years experience in numerous leadership, management, and investigative positions as a police officer for the Port of Los Angeles, achieving the rank of captain. Martin, you gonna make us call you captain tonight? He directed, managed, and administered Homeland Port Security Grant projects, administered new port security projects such as Operation Safe Commerce, Transportation Worker ID Card, Joint Container Inspection Facility, so forth and so on. Investigative experience in the areas of cargo theft, backgrounds, internal affairs, narcotics, and surveillance techniques. We are so happy that Martin agreed to come on with us tonight and just tell us a little bit about all these wonderful things that can be done, or rather actually with the private investigator. And I always said, the way I put it out there at first, Martin, was that for all the folks who were just inherently nosy, private investigation might be a good thing for them to delve into. So Martin, take it away.
All right, well, thank you, Liz. And what I do want to include is my wife, Barbara Renteria, who's also part of the audience here. And and we both have been private investigators since 2011. So that's about nine years now. And Barbara and I have also been notaries since the year 2000. So we've been in this loan signing agent business for almost 20 years now. But in any case, today we're going to talk about a side hustle, which is private investigations. And what Liz asked me to do is let you all know that if you're interested in doing some private investigations, how you can all get started in doing that kind of thing. Now, to begin with, just like notaries are regulated by the Secretary of State, private investigations are regulated by the Department of Public Safety. We have two areas to follow. One of them is the Occupations Code, Chapter 1702, and the Administrative Code, Chapter 35. Now, as you know, that as notaries, we're also regulated under Title 87, or rather Title I, Chapter 87 of the Administrative Code as well. So private investigators are also regulated by the Administrative Code, except it's Chapter 1702. So in any case, from those two state sections, DPS is in charge of regulating licensure for private investigators, where the Texas Secretary of State regulates who gets commissioned as a notary. The Department of Public Safety regulates who gets licensed as a private investigator. Now, you're thinking about private investigations and you're thinking about, well, what can I do with private investigations? And here's a little laundry list of all the things that you're going to be able to do as a private investigator. A lot of them is good. By the way, can you guys read this, or is it coming in backwards?
Got to go back, Feather.
Can you guys read that?
Yes.
Okay, is that readable to you, or is that mirrored?
It's good.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. All right. So as you can see, we've got surveillance. We've got
Martin, excuse me. I'm sorry. It's not, I couldn't see it. I should have asked you before if there was anything we needed to share, and then we could have put it on the shared screen. But what we can do, if you would send it to me after it's over, then I can just send that to everybody who's on the Zoom call.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So they can see it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got old eyes. I can't see it.
Yeah. Is that any clearer?
It's too close.
Can y'all read that?
Go back, Marty. It's way too close.
Is that too close?
It's okay.
It's okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And in any case, we deal with surveillance. We can deal with criminal defense work. We deal with missing persons, with locates, database research. And database research means that you will have the ability to essentially subscribe to various databases in order to do background searches on people. We work with personal injury, workman's comp claims, domestic fidelity cases, and you all know domestic fidelity cases involve your cheating wives, cheating husbands, cheating boyfriends and girlfriends, and child custody cases. Child custody cases means that you get hired by a party who suspects that the other spouse may be in violation of a court order while with the child. There are plenty of other cases, such as accident investigation cases, adoption cases, technical surveillance countermeasures. Technical surveillance countermeasures requires a hell of a lot of training in learning how to operate the countermeasures equipment, the technical countermeasures equipment. That's like bug sweeps. You can also work in computer forensics, employee screening, tenant screening, fraud investigations, even service of process, and skip tracing. Skip tracing is essentially trying to locate someone who's skipped town, for example, and you're trying to locate where he currently hangs his hat. But in any case, one of the things that Barbara and I primarily do is surveillance. Lately, we've been doing a lot of personal injury cases. We get hired by an attorney. The attorney tells us that, the person who is our target is claiming an injury of some type and has filed a claim with the company. So the attorney is hired by the company. We are hired by the attorney to go out and follow the person or the target who claims the injury. And we're tasked to determine whether or not he's engaged in activities that don't corroborate his injury claims. And, but in any case, here's a little photo of one of the things that, let's see if I can get that up clearly. Here's a little photo. Let me see if I can get that up clearly. Here's a little photo. I'm looking at it, waiting for our target to, 100 yards away, that's a whole length of a football field where I'm trying to zoom in, trying to catch my target walking out to determine whether or not they're being involved in any kind of activity where that doesn't coincide with their injury. I mentioned missing persons. Here's a photo of a missing person female that this is a 16-year-old girl that we handled about 5 years ago. She went out, she turned up missing. And when you do missing investigations, one of the first things you have to do is, when you talk with the parents, is that they file a police report, because we will not work any missing persons cases at all without a police report filed. This young girl was essentially lured away on the internet to go meet with friends that she found on the internet. This little girl was promised things that her parents were not giving her. So she went and spent several days with these so-called internet friends. And what Barbara and I had to do was go around to people that she knows, door knock them, and start asking questions of her friends as to whether or not they had any information as to her whereabouts. So once we start doing that, lo and behold, she appears all of a sudden, and she is found. So those are the kinds of things that we work on, just like that. By the way, if you have any questions about any of this, feel free to jump in and ask. It's not a problem. But given all of that, given all of these things that you're able to involve yourself in as a private investigator, what I'm here to tell you is, how can you get started off as a private investigator? And there are primarily two paths that you can use. The easiest path is to try and get yourself hired, cold, without any experience, by a company, a private investigations company that's looking for employees. The second path is going to be a little more difficult. The second path means that you're going to have to fulfill certain requirements and qualifications that are set forth by the Department of Public Safety. And because of my training and experience with the police department, I met that, the qualifications of going by the second path. So when you go down the second path, you're essentially asking to open up your own company. Now, any one of you on board right now can go ahead and open up your own private investigations company. Any one of you. Here's a trick though. You apply with DPS for a private investigations license. But in order to open up and start operating as a private investigations company, you yourself or someone that you hire must be your company representative who has passed a 2-hour Texas company representative examination. So you yourself, for example, Liz, if you wanted to open up your own private investigations company, you could go ahead and start applying for your license, but you're going to have to find it. But if you yourself did not want to take an examination with a state, you have to hire someone or find someone who is willing to take an examination with a state or has already taken an examination with a state to be a company representative for you.
So that means that I'm going to run out tomorrow and decide I'm going to be a PI and go check. I'm going to catch those cheating husbands. So in order for me to do that, I need to have you be my representative. Is that correct?
That's pretty much it, yes.
And is there a charge for you to be my representative?
That's going to, that charge is negotiable depending on
Depending on,
certain things that fall on,
it depends on what?
it depends, it depends on your, on the company's income. And a lot of it depends on whether or not the company representative is also involved as a private investigator or just a company representative. Okay.
So it depends on whether or not I want to strike out on my own or whether I want to work for you as a private investigator. Is that correct?
Right, right. Now, Barbara and I own our own agency. We have our own agency license. I am the designated company representative for us because I went ahead and passed the 2-hour Texas company representative exam. Okay. Now, how do you get to that point? Let's say you wanted to go out on your own. You want to be your own company representative. What's the best way for you all to do that? Okay.
Martin, before you go on to that, so if I wanted to be an employee of yours and not strike out on my own just yet, being an employee of yours, would that include you training me on how to be a PI?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's, yeah, if I were to take you on, if I had a case, for example, in Dallas or Fort Worth, and I needed boots on the ground in that area to go look at something for us, then I can go ahead and hire you and send you out there and essentially tell you exactly what I needed and the best, some of the best options for you to go about obtaining it. Okay. Now, here's a list of items in order for you to start being involved, in order for you to start getting your own license. Okay. The first one, the first requirement is have a 3 consecutive years of experience as a private investigator working for another company. All right. So now remember, I said that there are 2 paths. Number 1, you can be hired by a company. The second one is you can go for your own license. Now we're going to talk about, we're talking now about going for your own license. To go for your own license, one requirement is that you work for another company at least 3 years before you can apply for your own license. Or you can have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice or a related course of study. The third option, you can have a bachelor's degree in any other field with 12 months of investigation-related experience with another company. The fourth option, you can have an associate degree in criminal justice plus 24 months, 2 years of investigation-related experience with another company. The fifth option, you can go through a specialized course of study directly designed and related to private investigations that is taught by a 4-year college or university that is accredited with the state of Texas. Now, once you are able to meet any one of those 5 qualifications, then you will be eligible to take the company representative examination. Okay? Now, let's say that you don't have a bachelor's degree, you don't have an associate degree, you don't have 2 or 3 years working for another private investigations company, but you still want to strike out on your own. So what can you do instead? Take a look at that fifth option down there, and that's where you want to take a specialized course of study with an accredited college or university. Now, what do you need for that specialized course of study? Did I lose my video? Okay, okay, here we go. All right. So during that specialized course of study, what you will need to do is find a private investigator certificate program through one of those accredited colleges or universities that offers at least 200 hours of instructional study. And it's going to cover ethics, it's going to cover the occupations code, and it's going to cover the administrative code as it applies to private investigations. Now, one of these schools that you can attend to get the certificate is with, I don't know if you can see this here, it's with the Professional Development Institute of the University of Texas. And I'll put that up right there real quick for you. Professional Development Institute with the University of Texas, or PDI.org. They have a private investigations certificate program that you can take. And once you take that specialized course and pass it, you are eligible to take your company representative examination and open up your own shop, and you're your own representative. Okay. Now, DPS also regulates many other, several other licenses. One of those, and those licenses include alarm installers, alarm monitoring, locksmith, commissioned and non-commissioned security officers, and personal protection officer. And, you know, for example, if you wanted to work as a non-commissioned security officer, you can go to any company that hires security officers. They'll take you right on, and they'll do all the paperwork for you to be licensed as a security officer. Same as a commissioned security officer. A commissioned security officer is a security officer who is armed. A non-commissioned security officer is a security officer who is not armed. Okay. But your first visit, your first step into taking or into looking into private investigations or any of those other areas that the DPS regulates is by going to dps.gov. All right, the Department of Public Safety. And over here in this column, right along here, you'll see where it says private investigations, and it'll give you the choice of licenses. Right here, yeah, down here, down at the bottom here, it'll say private security. And that's where you'll click on private security, and that will get you started into checking out to see which way you want to go as far as what requirements you want, what pathway you want for yourself, and the requirements that you'll need to meet the DPS requirements. And if you decide to go ahead and try to take a crack at becoming a private investigator, you can contact myself. We can contact Barbara. We can help you through it and let you know, give you the shortcuts and let you know the ins and the outs about how they operate, how they do things. When you try to apply for your own license, like I said, you will go through a background, you will go through a fingerprint, and then if you open up your own shop, like I said, they will ask you if you have your own company representative. And then you will submit that information to DPS as well, that you have your own company representative. You will also need insurance. And I think as far as insurance goes, you do need I think it's I want to say it's a minimum of $1 million general liability. Barbara and I carry $3 million in general liability, but our $3 million in general liability includes our error and omissions insurance for doing notary work as well. So all of that is covered for us. Any questions from anyone?
Marty, I can talk about being female.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Do you see me or hear me? Okay, good.
Yes. Hi,
Um,
Barbara.
I
How are
thought
you?
it fine, thank you. I hope you all are doing good. And this is the first audience I've had in almost 2 months, and I don't know if you all can see it, but my vanity has totally left me. I've got a blouse on. I'm usually in a nightgown, and I've got no more nails. I am just so in the pits. But I guess we're all in the same boat. I talked about being a female investigator. We have, it's interesting for us because we can get away with a lot more than a male can. You put two males together, if they come face to face, it's like you just don't know what's going to happen next. But what I do is I go into buildings, I go undercover, I have different outfits, different wigs. So once you see me, you won't recognize me if you see me again. And we're looking for a subject, and I can pretty much identify that person without them ever knowing I'm around. I have different kinds of cameras that I take in with me and that I use. And it's real easy to go into an office meeting. We had this one organization that wanted to know, they suspected someone that they were dealing with was selling information about them. So they asked if we could go into a meeting and get photographs of everyone. Well, I did not get into the meeting, but they happened to be having the meeting behind a big glass window. So that was really nice. I got nice photos of everyone. But for women, we're not confrontational. You have to be able to think very quickly. You have to, it's not rehearsed. There's no rehearsing. You'll inevitably will meet an obstacle around every corner. So if you're quick to think, stay calm, stay collected, and just go with the flow. I think being a female PI is fantastic. I should be able to do this for the next 10 years. But it's a lot of fun. I think that we have special challenges, but on the other hand, I think that we are used more in special situations as to where it'd be harder to use Marty. Anything that's a one-on-one, a female's better. Marty can't change his hair. He can't change his mustache. The best he can do is wear a baseball cap. We have great cameras. Marty has a pair of glasses that's got a little camera on it. You'd never know. It looks like Superman. Clark Kent glasses is what they're called. And we have buttonhole cameras. We have the camera I use the most is just my phone and my tablet. And I can go in anywhere and take as many movies or photos, whatever is needed. Marty and I work as a pair. It is dangerous. A lot of the stuff we do is dangerous, but the idea is if you're doing your job, no one's going to know you're there. So that's the whole idea. I do not go armed, and I have special reasons for that, but Marty is always armed with at least one weapon. And we do kind of I do the thing and he watches my back for me. But we have never really gotten into a bad situation. We've only been chased twice, but that's another whole story. It's a lot of fun for females, and if you're thinking about getting into the business, it's something like doing closings or signings. You can take this way on after you retire. The longer you involve yourself in PI work, the better you're going to get at it. You have to just not get too excited, even though it is a lot of fun. I do like it a lot. There's not a lot of female PIs. We belong to the Texas Association of Licensed Investigators, and there's just not a lot of us out there. And we're just, I think we're, if you put me in a room like with 2 or 3 other private investigators and they're all male, I'll tell you, I'm so ignored. I get no credit for anything, and Marty won't even give me credit. All they do is see themselves. So this retired cop thing, it's really prevalent in the PI world. But us ladies are making our way to the top, even to the president of our organization. So if any of you are thinking about it, would like to have some more information, just contact us. This is very strange talking to notary people about PI work, but this is really nice. I'm going to turn you back over to Marty, and if you have any questions, just ask.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One of the many things to remember is that whatever cameras we use in our private investigations, that we take every step possible so that whatever video you take, whatever photo you take is time-stamped. There's if you, for example, if we have a private investigator working for us who's going to be using a camera, we're going to ask them, what kind of camera are you going to use? And we're going to ask them, does it have the ability to timestamp the photo or the video? And if they don't, we direct them to an app. Okay. Right here, I don't know if you can see this. Is that okay? You can't see this at all. Okay, because I've got an icon here that says timestamp camera.
Martin,
Click on that.
Martin,
Yes.
excuse me. But I think that when you're holding the phone up, there's some
Clear.
there's some feedback somewhere, and it may be that's interrupting your video, and I think it might be because the phone was too close to the computer. Maybe it's gone now.
All right, is it gone?
It comes on. I hear it when you're talking. So, oh, you put yourself on mute. No, don't put yourself on mute.
Yeah, I think. No. Okay, I think Barbara was in the other rooms. You might have heard her. You might have heard my voice through her.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's good. Okay, but in any way, I don't know if you can see this, but you can see the timestamp information on this app. It's a timestamp icon. It's a timestamp app. And you can see the timestamp information right here in the lower left. And that's the kind of camera that we use when we take videos or photos. You can download the timestamp app onto your phone now and take videos or photos using the timestamp information if you want. But anyone can do that. But many of our clients require that your photos or your videos have a timestamp on them. If your photos or your videos do not have a timestamp on it and your camera does not have the ability to put a timestamp on it, then you have to look for a program that you have to download to your computer that will add a timestamp to it after you've taken the video or the photo. And we've got that as well too.
Martin, Ardella has a question in the chat box, and it says, what does the pay look like, and is it based on case type?
The pay is a very good question because the pay will vary. The base pay that you can start charging other people is probably around $75 an hour. If you have a big case, you can ask for a flat rate. For example, if you know of a case that's going to go 4, 6, 8, 10 hours, then you can ask for a flat rate, say $1,000, and that will include, the number of hours, 8 to 10 hours, including mileage. But generally, you can start I know private investigators are charged. The margin is anywhere between 75 an hour to 150 an hour, depending on the complexity of the case. And then once you start working these cases, you'll understand which cases might be more complex than others. If there's a case where where you receive the information from your client that there may be some hazards involved, then you can request more because of those hazards. And those hazards can include environmental hazards or possibility of hazards to your own person, or possibility of hazards because you're in a particular type of neighborhood. So you can ask, you can essentially, you know, give a higher hourly rate for that type of stuff.
Okay, Martin, thank you so much. And we have we have one raised hand, that's from Sebastian, so he'll go next. And after that, I have a chat to read to you from Erica. So go ahead, Sebastian.
Hi, Martin, on that timestamp, I know when I take pictures with my phone, it actually includes a timestamp on it in the extra information. Does that work? Or do you actually have to have the timestamp on the picture itself?
No, yeah, the timestamp has to be on the picture itself.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're talking about the information that you find in the files, that won't work, because that information may change if you move it from the original card that you have over to your hard drive, for example.
Okay. All right. And then I have one more question. My stepfather, he's actually, he's not really trained in anything police-wise, but he has been a firearms training coordinator for several years. Would you recommend something like this for him? Would it be something that he could do? I don't know if that matters or not.
Yeah, I would recommend it for him. But yeah, if he's interested in that type of work, of course. Yeah, okay. You can definitely look into it.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Sebastian, for that question. Martin, we have Erica who says, where can I find the more subtle cameras that can't be seen? Not my phone or a regular camera. Is there a website? Can you share more examples of those? Thank you, Erica, for that question.
Yeah. Here's an example of cameras that of a subtle camera that you're talking about, a camera built into a pair of sunglasses. The camera is located right here in the center. You have the on and off switch down here at the bottom. There's an SD card that, let's see if this is the right side. Yeah, an SD card goes into a little pocket right here. So this is a nice little subtle camera. These kinds of things you can pick up at stores such as Spy Emporium, Lawmate, Brick House Security. Even Amazon might carry, these types of things as well.
Martin, would we find this information on your website?
Oh, information as to what? Information as
So
to how to become a
what we've been talking about this evening.
No, you will not find on my website, on the Checkmate Investigator Field Services website, you will not find information on how to become a PI, but you will just find information on what we do, what we
Gotcha.
can do for you, and how you can contact us.
Gotcha. Do you teach any classes on how to become a PI?
No, I do not teach any classes on how to become a PI because there are plenty of other folks that do that take the time to do that. And let me tell you something, teaching a class on learning how to be a private investigator is extremely subjective. what you learn from one teacher may not be the same thing that you learn from another teacher, for example. Now, we have taught others how to become private investigators. We have taken them on. Barbara and I have taught them how we operate as private investigators, but we teach them one-on-one. And then they have gone ahead and after getting experience from us, they used that as their to meet their qualifications, and they have gone on to get their own licenses. Yeah, they're doing wonderful. So, but listen, doing work as a PI will be determined on the clients that you get, will be determined on how much work you do, and you could easily, at 75 to 150 an hour, a lot depends on how busy you keep yourself. So you could easily see, well into the high 5 figures, the low 6 figures, if you apply yourself that way.
Thank you, Martin. We have one other question from Richard Tuttle. He said, do you specialize in one area or multiple? I am interested in skip tracing. What do you recommend going? What do you recommend? How do you recommend going about it? How much is the course average startup cash needed?
All right, as far as specializing in an area or one area or multiple areas, we specialize in surveillances, and we do not do any criminal defense work because with criminal defense work, you're just interviewing a whole bunch of witnesses day in and day out. But what we do is we're more on the covert side, on the surveillance side. And I always tell folks that if we do our job right, nobody ever knows that we're ever around. And because we stay hidden, we stay as, we're very discreet, and we try and blend in with, whatever environment that we're in. So we do specialize in surveillances, and like I said, we have worked domestic fidelity cases, child custody cases, and personal injury cases, workman's comp cases. Those are the areas that require surveillance of other people. If you're interested in skip tracing has 2 parts to it. The first part is doing research on proprietary databases where you can find out the backgrounds of certain people and perhaps where they may be currently living. Once you get the information from these proprietary backgrounds, the second part is doing the field work to determine if the information you find out from these databases is correct by actually going out to these locations that you discover to determine if they're actually there. Now, a lot depends on what your client wants you to do as well. Your client may tell you as a skip tracer, find out if he has any new addresses. You find out he's, address 1, 2, and 3 that are possibilities. You provide that to your client, but your client still has no hard evidence that, his target is actually still there. You will never ever find that out unless you actually put boots on the ground and go out and personally observe it. And as far as how to go about going about to do the skip tracing, again, you either get yourself hired by a private investigations company, or you open up your own license. And then once you open up your own license, or you work for a private investigations company, you will have access to these proprietary databases. Now, what are the proprietary databases I'm talking about? Now, a lot of you know that there are public databases that you can access, such as Instant Checkmate, or Truth Finders, or People Finder. And I mean, all you got to do is just pay them your $40, and they'll trick you into a subscription. And you know, you can access those databases. Those public databases are extremely known for their inaccuracies and old information. The databases that we use are more proprietary in its nature, whereas in order to gain access to those databases, you have to be a licensed private investigator, you have to be an attorney, you have to be in the insurance industry to locate other people. And you will be paying a monthly fee for those databases. And some of the names of those databases are TLO, Delve Point, Skip Smasher, Reuters, and Tracers. Those are the databases where you cannot use them unless you are a licensed private investigator. And how much is a course average? I've heard that the course average at PDI runs anywhere from between 3,000 and 5,000. But you're going to have to give them a call and find out for certain, because the price of those courses fluctuate. The startup cash that's needed, again, if you don't take the course itself, your startup cost is going to be the amount of money that it costs to apply for a license, which is approximately, you know, I want to say somewhere in the neighborhood of $300. And then you're going to spend a lot of time in studying to take the company representative examination, and the equipment that you want to buy, which could, and if we're talking about camera equipment and other office equipment, you're going to see probably putting out anywhere between $500 and $2,000 to start off. Okay, any other questions? Yeah.
If there's no more questions, Marty, mute yours. If there's no more questions for Marty, there is a lady, her first name is Valerie, and she does a really good class on skip tracing. We've attended 2 of her classes over the years. Marty, what's her last name? What? McGilvery? Valerie McGilvery, and you might just look her up on your computer. But she gives a really good course, and I don't know if she's still teaching those or not. I think they're only like $75. Anything you want to find on private investigation, if there's something you want to specialize in, you can Google it, and there are so many private investigators and writers out there that there's just hundreds of books. You were asking about charges. What do you charge an hour? One of the dangers of doing this is when you have to follow some around, and you charge whether it's going to be a stationary investigation or a mobile investigation, which means you're following someone on the freeway, and there's certain ways that you have to do that to not get caught, but you charge more for a moving investigation, and it should have 2 cars, not just 1. And stationary, it can be just 1. We have cameras that we can read a license plate 2 blocks away. That was an expensive camera, but you know, I have a little Shih Tzu dog that I was sitting in the woodlands on a bench and watching our subject across the street at a restaurant, and she started walking towards me, and I thought, oh my gosh, she has spotted me. She knows what I'm doing, and she walked over, and I thought, oh no. She says, I just had to come over and look at your little dog. And she sat down next to me, and in 15 minutes, she told me everything I wanted to know. So you just never know what's going to happen. But So look up Valerie. That class that she gives on skip tracing is she bends the rules a little bit, but she's really good.
How's that last name spelled?
Marty, could you spell Valerie's last name?
Valerie.
Last
No,
name.
Yep, McGilvray. McGilvray.
Okay. So are there any other questions for Marty? Oh, she got me calling you Marty. You see that, don't you?
Okay. Oh, I just want to say one more thing about if you're really interested. Every month, the Texas Association has a monthly training. You have to maintain so many training hours a year to maintain your license. And they do offer us 1 hour of training a month. And it's held down in Houston. It's usually the second Wednesday of each month at 11:30. And it can change at different locations. So I don't know when this whole virus thing is over, I don't know where it's going to be held. We also have conferences, but if anyone can set in on these training sessions 1 or 2 times, if you really want to get some information about being a private investigator, and there's usually anywhere between 12 to 25 people there every month. And we're a friendly bunch, so you can ask a lot of questions, you can visit around, and I really encourage the women because I'm so alone.
Ah! Barbara, I wish I could say I will join you, but I don't think I want to be.
Well, that's okay. You know,
I
it's
don't
not for
follow
everyone.
anybody around.
Well, you know, another thing we do that is interesting. You've heard about the internet fraud where men entice women. They go on these dating company organizations.
You mean
Oh
catfishing?
my! Oh, that's huge.
Is
Just
that called
huge.
catfishing?
Yes, kind of. Yeah, it's the same thing, and it's just you would just be so amazed at what happens on there, and you think, oh my gosh, this can't be real. But we're talking about swindling people out of their life, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's very interesting.
Yeah,
Those are really sad, but it's one of those things we work on. So
gotcha.
anyway, this has been really fun for me. I enjoyed it. Very interesting that you guys would be interested in PI work. But look at Marty and I. We do this too. So
Hey, Barbara, I just put it out there, say anybody interested. I want to bring something different to the group so they can see something else that they can do.
well, the next time we all get together for a training session, I can tell, if there's time, a couple of stories about Martin, because he's so perfect and so intelligent. I love to tell on him. And I can tell a couple of really funny ones on him.
Well,
So if we have time, I'll
do? You know what we can do? How about if we
What?
allow time for those stories? Because, you know, you guys are going to be back with us on the 29th for process serving. So how about you started off telling us those stories on Sweet Marty? Does that work?
I can't. Y'all have to be there to protect me. No, it has to do with the glasses he wears, and I was sitting outside of Panera Bread with my cameras, and he's looking for this guy. Marty's as blind as a bat, and he is sticking his head out, looking all over, getting down in people's faces to see if it's them.
Now be careful, Barbara. We're not there to protect you.
He's in another room. And I think he's busy on something else. He's laughing. But I said, Marty, what are you doing? He says, I can't see who anybody is. And he's getting like a foot from their faces, going around to each person, all bent over. It was so funny. It was great.
Well, we want to say thank you to you and to Marty for coming on and sharing your knowledge with us. And again, everybody, like I said, they will be back with us on the 29th to do process serving. You know, in case anybody's interested in learning about process service. Now, The other thing, let's see, we've got any other questions over here? I think I'm to the bottom. Richard said, thank you from San Antonio. Ardella says, thank you for sharing. Now, as I said, Martin will be back on the 29th for process serving. The other things that we have going on is, of course, this weekend, the 18th, workshop 1, which is loan document review. It will be our first time doing it live. Of course, my niche is classroom training, but you know, I'm like the he and haw and who moved my cheese. We've got to move with the time. So we are moving to online training until COVID-19 is over. So workshop 1 is on Saturday from 8 to 12. And I do have 1 space available for workshop 1. I can only take 10 people. I keep it small because we are very hands-on. And then I'm looking for my list. On the 23rd, we have Pretty and Branding, who's talking about social media. What, you know, how important social media is to the business that we do. So that's on the 23rd, the 29th, Martin. The 2nd, I believe it's the 2nd, we have our Notary 101. Is that right, Tamika? Notary 101 is May 2nd, and I think registration is open for that. Oh, I forgot. Workshop 2, which is loan document review, but of the, I call it workshop 1 on steroids because it's doing reverse mortgages, cash outs, and HELOC. So that's on the 25th. And I think we've got like 7 spaces available on that right now. Next month, then also you would have gotten anyone who's on my email distribution and in my Facebook group, you will see that Madeline Ritchie from BNN Services will be, it's not EC Head thing, this is a BNN thing, but she's doing a Ron presentation, electronic notarization on Sunday at 5 o'clock. There's a link on my Facebook group page. If you want to register, you must register because there is limited space. And next month, we've got some great people coming to you for some information. And I have not yet worked out everything as far as the lineup for that. So anyway, that's what we've got going on. And Sebastian said he had to go because his plumber's there to fix his sink. I hope it doesn't cost you a whole lot of money. Even though I know you probably got that stimulus check today, you don't want to spend it on the plumber. So anyway, so does anyone have anything else? Are there any questions at all? Going once, going twice? Martin, Barbara, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And Martin, if you have some things that you want to share, like for the process service, then I think there's a way you can share it from where you are, or if you just send it to me, I think we can make you co-host or something like that, and then you'll be able to actually share. I'm learning how to do this Zoom stuff, so Sebastian was giving me a few clues as we've been going through this. So I think all I have to do is make you co-host, and Tamika will help me figure that out. And then you'll be able to share your screen with all of us so we can better see what you were showing us in the camera. In the meantime, the information that you were sharing in the camera, if you send that to me, then we can put that out there for everybody who's on the call. Does that work?
That'll work.
Okay, all right then. Everybody have a good rest of the week, and I hope to see y'all again soon.
All right. Y'all have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.